Two, three. Test. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Test. Check, check. Check. 1, 2, 3. Check, check.
No, they work now.
They worked this morning. Oh,
That worked. Good morning, everyone. Before we get started, we are going to say the Pledge of Allegiance and a short prayer. And the committee will now come to order, and without objection, the chair is authorized to declare a recess of the committee at any time. I want to welcome all of our members, both returning and new, to the organizational meeting of the Committee on Small Business for the 119th Congress. This meeting will proceed as follows. First, Ranking Member Velasquez, and I will introduce our members on each side, and then we will introduce and officially approve our subcommittee chairs. Next, we will officially adopt our committee rules. And finally, we will officially adopt our committee's authorization and oversight plan. I want to take a moment to recognize Ranking Member Velasquez. I know Chairman Williams and our members look forward to working together again to help the small businesses in this nation grow, innovate, and create jobs. And together, we can craft legislation and conduct oversight to address the many issues facing small businesses today. Now, I want to introduce the new majority members of this committee. Congressman Brad Finstad from Minnesota, Congressman Tony Weed from Wisconsin, Congressman Rob Bresnahan from Pennsylvania, Congressman Brian Jack from Georgia, Congressman Troy Downing from Montana, Congressman Kim King Hines from Northern Mariana Islands, and Congressman Derek Schmidt from Kansas. I also want to welcome back our members returning to our committee. Congressman Pete Stauber from Minnesota, who is returning to the Subcommittee on Rural Development, Energy, and Supply Chains this Congress. Congressman Dan Muser from Pennsylvania, who previously served as chairman of the Subcommittee on Economic Growth, Tax, and Capital Access. Myself, previously serving as chair of the Subcommittee on Oversight, Investigations, and Regulations. Congressman Jake Ellzey from Texas, who served on our Subcommittee on Innovation, Entrepreneurship, and Workforce Development, as well as the Subcommittee on Contracting and Infrastructure. Congressman Mark Alford from Missouri, who served on our Subcommittee on Oversight, Investigations, and Regulations, as well as the Subcommittee on Economic Growth, Tax, and Capital Access. And finally, Congressman Nick LaLota from New York, who served as our chairman for the Subcommittee on Contracting and Infrastructure last Congress. We are excited to have all of you join us for the 119th, and I'm looking forward to what we can accomplish together. And with that, I yield to our distinguished ranking member from New York, Ms. Velasquez.
Good morning, and thank you, Madam Chair. I'm looking forward to working with you and Chairman Williams again this Congress. Before we get started, I just want to convey our sympathies to the chairman and his family at this time. We will keep him in our thoughts. I hope that in this Congress, we can continue our bipartisan tradition and show our constituents and our new members that we are addressing the issues that small firms care about. I now would like to welcome our new and returning members and take a moment to introduce the Democratic members of the committee. Let me begin with the newest members of our committee. First is Mr. Gil Cisneros from California. He served 11 years as a Navy supplier lead officer, leaving as a lieutenant commander in 2004. Elected in 2018, he represented California's 39th district before serving as Undersecretary of Defense for Personnel and Readiness. His background in procurement will be vital as we work to expand contracting opportunities for small firms. Our next freshman member is Dr. Kelly Morrison from Minnesota. Dr. Morrison spent most of her career as a practicing OBGYN in Minnesota for over 20 years. She first ran office for the State House in 2018 and later moved to the State Senate in 2023. I'm looking forward to having her on the committee. Next is Mr. George Latimer from New York. He first ran for public office in 1987, winning a seat on the Rice City Council. He also served as chair of the Westchester County Board of Legislators in the New York State Assembly and Senate, and as Westchester County Executive. I am happy to welcome another member of the New York delegation to this committee. Next, we have Mr. Derek Tran. He was born in the Los Angeles County, California, and grew up in the San Gabriel Valley as the son of Vietnamese refugees. He served in the Army for 8 years before attending law school and eventually starting his own practice. His experience as a small business owner makes him a great addition to our committee. Now, I would like to introduce Ms. Latifa Simon from California, a 30-year veteran organizer and civil rights advocate. She has led initiatives like San Francisco Back on Track program and served in key roles, including on the Bay Area Rapid Transit Board and as a police reform advisor. Welcome, Ms. Simon. Next, I would like to introduce Mr. Johnny Olszewski of Maryland, known to many as Johnny O. A proud Baltimore County native, he began his career as a civics teacher in Baltimore County Public School before serving 2 terms in the Maryland House of Delegates. In 2018, he was elected Baltimore County Executive, where he served until being elected to Congress. We are grateful to have him with us today. And I would also like to introduce Dr. Herb Conway from New Jersey. He is a physician, attorney, and lifelong public servant. After serving as a captain in the U.S. Air Force Medical Corps, he joined the New Jersey General Assembly in 1988, practicing medicine throughout his tenure and serving in leadership roles as Majority Whip and Deputy Speaker. We are delighted to have him here today. Finally, we have Ms. Maggie Goodlander of New Hampshire, a former Foreign Policy Advisor in the U.S. Senate and Navy Reserve Intelligence Officer. A Yale Law School graduate, she clerked for Chief Judge Merrick Garland and Justice Stephen Breyer. We are grateful to have her insights and experience with us on the committee. I would also like to welcome back our esteemed returning members, Mr. Morgan McGarvey from Kentucky, Ms. Hillary Skolton from Michigan, and Ms. Monica McKeever from New Jersey. Thank you, and I yield back.
Thank you very much, Ranking Member Velasquez. Now I'd like to introduce our 5 subcommittee chairs on the majority side. I will chair the Subcommittee on Economic Growth, Tax, and Capital Access. Congressman Mark Alford will chair the Subcommittee on Oversight, Investigations, and Regulations. Congressman Jake Ellzey will chair the Subcommittee on Rural Development, Energy, and Supply Chains. Congressman Nick Lalotta will chair the Subcommittee on Contracting and Infrastructure. And Congressman Brian Jack will serve the Subcommittee on Innovation, Entrepreneurship, and Workforce Development. Thank you all for your willingness to serve. I now yield to Ranking Member Velasquez to introduce the ranking members of the subcommittees.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to congratulate the committee chairs and ranking members. We have had some bright, dynamic members join our committee, and I am confident this will be a productive session. The full committee vice-ranking member will be Mr. Morgan McGarvey. Ms. Hillary Skolton will be the ranking member on the Subcommittee on Innovation, Entrepreneurship, and Workforce Development. Ms. LaMonica McKeever will be the ranking member on the Subcommittee on Economic Growth, Tax, and Capital Access. Mr. Gil Cisneros will be the ranking member on the Subcommittee on Contracting and Infrastructure. Dr. Kelly Morrison will be the ranking member on the Subcommittee on Rural Development, Energy, and Supply Chains. And Mr. Derek Tran will be the ranking member on the Subcommittee on Oversight, Investigations, and Regulations. Thank you all the members for serving.
I move that the list of subcommittee chairs and ranking members set forth in the rosters be approved. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the chairs and ranking members have been appointed. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. I would now like to proceed to the committee rules package. Pursuant to Clause 2A of the House Rule 11, the first order of business is the adoption of the committee's rule of procedure for the 119th Congress. A copy of the proposed rules was distributed to each of you in advance. The rules package is nearly the same as last Congress with a few minor changes, which will allow us to propel this committee forward to the benefit of the small businesses nationwide. The most significant changes, the rules have been adjusted to allow for members to vote electronically. I now recognize Ranking Member Velasquez for her remarks on the rules.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our committee's rules are essential, not just for maintaining order, but also for setting clear guidelines for how we work. More importantly, they include safeguards to ensure that all viewpoints are heard and considered. The rules before us today closely mirror those of previous Congresses. These rules are designed to foster collaboration and respect across party lines, creating an environment where diverse viewpoints can be heard and considered. I hope that these rules lay the foundation for us to continue our committee's bipartisan tradition and for this panel to be run openly and fairly. With that, I yield back.
Thank you, Ms. Velasquez. Without objection, the draft committee rules are considered as read and open for amendment at any point. Does any member wish to be recognized to offer amendments to the proposed committee rules? Seeing none, I move that the proposed rules be adopted as the rules of the Committee on Small Business for the 119th Congress. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the proposed rules are adopted. Pursuant to House rules, the rules adopted by the Committee on Small Business for the 119th Congress will be published in the Congressional Record and made available to members and the public on the committee's website. The next order of business before the committee is the adoption of our authorization and oversight plan for the 119th Congress. House Rule 10, Clause 2D directs each standing committee to not later than March 1st of the first session of a Congress, in a meeting that is open to the public, adopt its authorization and oversight plan for that Congress. As required by the rules, our plan includes descriptions of each program or agencies that is intended to be authorized in the current Congress or the next Congress, and a description of oversight to support reauthorization this Congress. In addition, the plan includes recommendations for moving forward any such plans or agencies from mandatory to discretionary funding. The committee may consider reforms and improvements to various SBA programs as noted throughout this authorization and oversight plan. The committee's authorization and oversight plan for the 119th Congress was compiled with input from the ranking member and minority members and has been made available in advance to all members. I now recognize myself for 5 minutes to discuss the plan for this Congress. So back home in North Texas, I constantly hear how even the smallest changes in Washington, D.C. can have a disastrous impact on our small businesses. And over the last 4 years, burdensome regulations and government interference have harmed the ability of small business owners to make a living. In this Congress, we will focus the committee's attention and resources on crafting legislation that will help small businesses start and grow. This committee and its members will continue to be fierce advocates for pro-growth policies that put American businesses first. And through our hearings, we will continue to bring in small business owners and entrepreneurs whose innovation and determination have come to define the American dream. Additionally, the committee will analyze ways that the Small Business Administration and other federal agencies could improve the landscape for small businesses. We'll investigate agencies' rules and rulemaking processes to ensure that regulations are tailored to the needs and interests of small businesses. We will work to be the voice for small businesses in Washington, D.C. I hope my colleagues on both sides of the aisle are excited to work on behalf of Main Street America. And with that, I yield to the distinguished ranking member Velasquez for 5 minutes for any remarks you may wish to make on the Oversight and Authorization Plan.
Thank you. My colleagues, this negotiated oversight plan lays out a strong path to keep SBA programs accountable, efficient, and transparent. It focuses on proven programs like entrepreneurial development, lending initiatives, and federal contracting while guarding taxpayer dollars against fraud and waste. Fighting waste, fraud, and abuse remains a priority for this committee. Our bipartisan work on issues like PPP and COVID idle fraud has made a real difference, and I am confident we will continue delivering results. The plan also highlights important goals like modernizing SBA systems to better serve small businesses and increasing capital access. I am eager to work together to support small employers and put this plan into action. I encourage all members to support it. I yield back.
Thank you very much. As noted, the proposed authorization and oversight plan has been distributed to members in advance. And without objection, the plan is considered as read and open for amendment at any point. Does any member wish to be recognized to discuss the draft authorization and oversight plan? Are there any amendments? Seeing none, I move that the authorization and oversight plan of the Committee on Small Business for the 119th Congress be adopted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the plan is adopted. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. As directed by House Rule X, the authorization and oversight plan will be submitted simultaneously to the Committee on Oversight and Accountability, and the Committee on House Administration will compile and report the plan submitted by the standing committees to the House no later than March 1st. So in record time, this concludes today's business meeting. Without objection, the committee staff is authorized to make technical and conforming changes to reflect the action of the committee in adopting the resolution embodying our rules. Without objection, the committee stands adjourned.